I have here with me the Member of Parliament for Ablekuma Central, Ebenezer Nina Nati, and he's here. This is the second time coming on the show.
Right.
You usually don't come, or we don't call you.
You don't call me.
Okay. So we're calling you for the second time. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Happy New Year. I haven't seen you this year.
Yes, many happy returns.
Yeah. Well, there was a report I was reading last week that said averagely, if you want to vie for, the whole process of the primary and then coming to the main election, you spend around $86,000 US, which now has been computed into our latest Ghana cedi to dollar ratio, 390,000 Ghana cedis. I don't know how much my brother spent, though, but sometimes when you have goodwill along the side, it helps. I have Ahwiaa Suhini, Member of Parliament for Tamale North here. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Roland. And mischief well noted.
No. It's got nothing to do with mischief.
I think it has to do with cost is related to popularity and how much you are appreciated and loved by the people.
Yeah, so when you appreciate more, you spend less. Or,
yes.
Yeah, I think
when
so.
the people want you to win.
Yeah.
They make a lot of sacrifices for you to win. And so
usually when you are setting out to become let's say you want to vie for this position, like where you are now, do you have a certain number of limits in your mind that you want to go? Maybe I want to go 3 times or 4 times usually, or you want to go as far as you can be?
I think it depends on the individual. And sometimes you also look at the constituency in which you are contesting. We have the marginal seats, we have the safe seats. So it depends on where you are contesting. And if you realize that you have done your best for the constituents, I mean, you can just decide to back up. But if you decide that, oh, for me, I want to go 3 times, 4 times, to get to a point, you see the constituents, not even your party people, but the entire constituency will say, no, it's enough. We don't like this man. That is why in some cases you have some seats that belongs to a particular political parties, as we always know, some in Ashanti, some in the Volta region, but you have independent candidates go into that election and then he wins. That tells you that the entire community or the entire constituency think that, oh, you have done enough. Let somebody also come and do the rest of the work. So it depends. There are some also that believe that, oh, for me, I have to go 5 terms, 6 terms. We have people in parliament, I think they are in their 7th term, and some are in their 5th term. I know some just within 2 terms say, I won't go again.
Yeah, I had a good friend who, your
yes.
Yeah, he said he would go 2 times.
Yes.
That's Theophilus is the child.
Yes.
The first time he started telling me, but it's because that seat is, how do you call it, marginal?
It's a swing.
It's a swing seat.
It's a swing.
Yes.
So anything can happen in the next election.
No, for now it's a safe seat.
So you also have that in mind, right? You know number, but yours is a safe seat, right? Tamale North. So then this is strong.
It's not like that. If you take the people for granted, I'm sure that they will prove to you that they own the constituency and not the political party. I took over from an independent candidate, like he suggested. So that should tell you that no seat is really that safe. It always depends on how the party treats the electorates at every point in time.
So that member was, that former MP was
an independent candidate.
But of which stock originally?
I don't know, because he at the time claimed to be NDC. I hear he's flirting with the MPP now.
Currently. Yeah.
So I don't know which stock that he really came from. But the point has to be made that one cannot say that no matter how safe you think that seat is, it will always depend on how well you relate with the people and how you are able to meet their expectations, and how in some of these things God also favors you. I think it is key and it is important.
We have our reporter Mohammed Nuruddin, one of our Ashanti regional correspondents, but we know that just in the Kwabre constituency, the place called Ahwiaa, there had been some consistent clashes. For example, the MP already indicating, and the MP for the area is Francisca Oting-Mensah, who is describing as sad and unfortunate bloody clashes that sparked between the indigenous Shantis and the Zongo youth at Ahwiaa in the Kwabre East district of the region. Ultimately, we're told that it also led to some looting of palace of the chief and also some distraction to property. And now the call is that there should be a curfew. We don't know whether that will be in place or has been in place. But Mohammed Nuruddin in Ashanti is the right person to tell us. Good morning to you, Mohammed.
Good morning, Roland.
So tell us the story so far. Where have we reached? Where did we come from?
Well, Roland, it is a long-standing issue between some groups from the Zongo community and that of the Santi line. It has been happening for a very long time, and what I am gathering here is that some few groups, young guys from the Zongo community and that of the Santi, have had issues in the past, and that is what actually reignited this current issue. On Thursday, there was a funeral and a young girl who died. We understand he delivered and unfortunately passed on. And so those youth from the Zongo community came to join a celebration which was going on in the Ashanti line. And what I have gathered is that one of the guys said the girl who died was his girlfriend or something like that. And so they also came to join the celebration. And that was where the confusion actually broke. And that is how it started. We understand that the youth from the center didn't want them. They told them that, no, this is not for you, it is for us. So there's no need for you to join us. Because there is a long-standing issue between them, they actually reignited, and so people were injured, and that was how it happened. So they had to call the police in, and the police came, and things were under control. The next morning, that was on Friday, the issue started again, and then on Saturday it became worse. That's how it happened here at the Ahwiaa in the Kwabre East district of the Shanti region.
Well, that's an interesting case in point. And I remember the last time that the clashes happened, there was supposed to be some truce between the leaders of the Zongo community and the chief. What happened to that? That now we're just transitioning into something of this conflict of a sort?
Roland, what happened in the past was at Tafo. It wasn't at Ahwiaa. Ahwiaa is a different community in the Ashanti region. It is under the Kwabre East district of the Ashanti region. What happened in the past, in fact, wasn't worse. It wasn't worse like what we experienced on Saturday. So it was something that happened. It will happen, some few cases. And so there wasn't any, according to residents, there was no need for police intervention and all that. They were able to manage to handle those issues. But this one was, too much for them. And so they needed the presence of the police and the military, and that was why they called. In the past, yes, it happened, but it wasn't serious as we are witnessing now.
Okay, there's supposed to be a curfew. Have the police and perhaps the regional security people made any decision on when they are going to impose a curfew, or if they are going to impose it at all?
Well, I spoke with some residents a few minutes ago, and they confirmed that it's a curfew. I'm yet to contact the security agencies and also find out whether actually there was a curfew here. But what I'm gathering here from residents is that there was a curfew last night, and so there's a curfew here. I'm trying to get the district chief executive area to also find out what they are doing about the situation. Police personnel have been stationed here, and they have been patrolling the area. From one community, from one area to the other, making sure that nothing is going to happen here again.
Well, thank you very much, Mohammed Nuruddin, one of our correspondents in the Ashanti region, giving us the latest updates on those clashes. But let me speak to you, Al Hassan. And we know that we've had some Fulani clashes, etc. It's given us some sense of heightened security, won't you say?
Yes, maybe it's appropriate to say good morning to our viewers and my colleague, Honorable Ebenezer, who is also ranking member, my vice chairman of my committee, I should say, Lands and Forestry. I think that the security situation in this country has gotten to very worrying levels. And I think it is important that we all as citizens demand more of our security agencies and by extension of our government. I was in that part of the country on Saturday. In fact, we drove into the confusion, and as a result of the tension and the traffic that it created, we had to use an alternative route to go to Mampong. A friend of mine, a former colleague, Mrs. Ahwiaa Sewa Bonzi, was burying their mother in Mampong, and we went to commiserate with her on Saturday. And that was when I learned that there was this confusion in that town. And I think it is unfortunate, and especially the way it was degenerating into, tribal and ethnic, dimensions. I was very frightened by it. I mean, one of the things that we all have to guard against, have to do with the conflicts that result from tribalism, especially, and politics, because I have always held the opinion that these are the two things that can, destroy this country if care is not taken. Because when people, as for religion, somehow we have been blessed to some extent that we don't get
tolerant.
Yes, we don't get to extreme levels. But when it comes to politics and ethnicity, we tend to have people go into the extreme in the way that they express or try to defend their positions, and that is very worrying. And so when you marry this to some of the political vigilante activities that we have seen, and the armed robbery cases that we have seen, and also marry it with the president's lamentable position where he says that the security agencies are overwhelmed, then you get worried that the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces himself is telling us that his security agencies are overwhelmed. Then you get worried, because we elect governments to assure us and guarantee us some level of security and safety. And I think that it is not the case that the security agencies are unable to live up to their expectation. Sometimes it is just because of the nature of the crime. For example, when you look at what happened in Kwabenya, within some few days, because the nature of the crime did not, suggest any political involvements and activities, within the shortest possible time, results were gotten. So it tells you that the problem may not just be about the security agencies. It has to do with the political will, especially of those in power. And that has to be checked moving forward. But in this particular case, I think that opinion leaders must be engaged. I think that the chiefs must exercise some authority and help the security agencies, because in cases like this, a clamp down by the security agencies necessarily does not resolve the problem. In some cases, it rather aggravates the situation. So they will need to collaborate with the opinion leaders from each side of the town to get a solution. I don't know if you want us to marry this with
we'll come to the
Agogo
we'll come,
heads.
because
okay.
Dr. Enin has been talking about something. So,
Okay.
Your initial comments on this and how we...
Thank you, Roland. Let me say good morning to our viewers, more especially my constituents, Ablukma Central, and Ghanaians for that matter. Is worried, very, very worried. It's rather unfortunate. I don't know whether my sister and my colleague is back. I know she's outside the country for a conference, and you have this information in your constituents. That's very bad. But listen to your reporter. You know, in this country, when you decide to bring, we are doing politics, and we try to bring religion and tribal, it creates a lot of problems. And it reminds me of the Tafo issue. It's between Christians and Muslims. When it happens like that, it creates a lot of problems. People believe that we have our right. Others also deem that we also have our right. So if there's no a cordial understanding, it creates a lot of problems. One thing that I want to appeal to the security agencies is not to be one-sided. That is one other thing that also creates a lot of problem. People believe that, oh, because those people belong to this side, let's deal with the matter this way, and it creates problem all over. But when we stand in the middle as security men, call the parties involved, whatever issue is, resolve it amicably. I believe that it will help us and to go a long way. We are living in a country where the population of youth is very high. And now, when you go to most of these areas where there are misunderstanding, there's conflict and all those who always lead the fight is the youth. The last time I was telling some of the look, unemployment situation in this country is a serious security threat than even what we are seeing.
Really, we just created some 700 and something jobs, count food.
But you're talking
why are you teasing the honorable man?
No, it's not teasing. I'm telling you, it's unemployment.
775,000 plus.
No, 745,000.
Exactly. Job have been created.
Nearly 1 million.
Do you know the number of people who complete university every year?
Well, true.
You don't know.
You have a point.
Yes. So it will not be so simple to employ everybody at the same time.
Yeah.
So I believe strongly that there's a need for us to go into the matter, deal with it, devoid of partisan. I keep on saying that one of the things that is destroying us as a nation is politics in this country of ours. We read politics in everything that we do. Even if we know that this is the right thing, because this person belongs to this political party, oh, let's go by that, which will not help us. I want to make a passionate appeal to the IGP, as well as the regional police commander, chiefs, and opinion leaders in that Ahwiaa. Is it Ahwiaa so?
No, Ahwiaa.
Ahwiaa.
Not Ahwiaa so. Ahwiaa.
To, as a matter of urgency, go into the matter, deal with it, so that the people of Ahwiaa will have their peace of mind and go back to their normal duties and work.
And Suhini, there was supposed to have been a parliamentary, the idea was mooted for a parliamentary select committee to undertake a fact-finding mission to 3 countries in West Africa. It's the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament. If you belong to those? No. Yeah. And they're supposed to learn about the effective ways of dealing with conflicts between nomadic herdsmen and local farmers. But it just been speedily or swiftly shot down by Dr. Kwesi, and we all know him. And he says that actually what happens in Ghana is even just a microcosm of what happens in West Africa. For example, he said 1,000 people were killed in 2014 alone from nomadic herdsmen and their invasions, etc. And so what really needs to be done is having a more faceted approach about the movement, etc., of the nomadic herdsmen. What's your thoughts on the subject?
Well, maybe I'll take it from where my colleague left off. The position that politics is destroying a lot of institutions and a lot of programs and projects in this country. I find it fascinating, and I will explain why when I get into the Agogo incidents. It's as if watching from my time as a journalist and my time as a member of parliament, that politicians tend to discount the role partisanship of politics play in the destruction of our values only when they are in power.
You mean they underestimate it?
They discount it. They begin
They don't
to
place much value on it.
No, they rather place value on it. That's the point I want to make. They place value on how much partisanship destroy our values and programs and projects as a country only when they seem to be in power. Because you see, I think it is unacceptable, personally, it's my personal position, either in government or in opposition, that we urge a discussion or we call for a discussion outside partisanship and politics when problems such as water crisis, electricity, security, and all those things come up. There are some areas, yes, you can say that we should not discuss, you know, within the context of politics. But I'm saying that these are the things that politicians campaign on every day. So when you go to Agogo, like our president Nana Akufo-Addo did when he was an opposition leader, and the people complain that they have security issues related to Fulani herdsmen, he makes a pledge. And then when he is elected in power and that problem persists, then you have his henchmen say, let's discuss it outside politics. I think it's unacceptable.
But why is it political?
No, it is political because he campaign on it.
Okay.
Do you get it? He used it and assured the people. And so for all you know, a large number of people in that area voted him just to come and solve that problem. It is very possible. So if that problem persists and you remind him that he may have earned votes as a result of the pledge he made, that is not doing unnecessary politics. Because that will...
What was the pledge?
You want me to quote? I'll quote the pledge. This was what he said. Quote, Brazil has a population of 200 million people and 213 million cattle. There are more cattle in Brazil than human beings. However, ranching and the implementation of policies have ensured that this situation has not created any problems. Humans do not mingle with the cattle. These are the kinds of policies we are coming to put in place when, God willing, we win the elections to ensure that this Fulani menace is ended once and for all.
So you're saying a year on, nothing has been done?
So a year on...
Where are the policies in this?
Where are the ranches? And where are the programs to ensure that the ranches are introduced? Okay. What we have, however, is a brutish clampdown that is somehow celebrated by even people you think should know better. The defense minister, I don't know if you have seen that video, where he is practically threatening a TV3 lady for asking if that is the deputy defense minister, asking a question of whether that is the best approach, the way they are operating, beating and chasing Fulani men out of the place, chasing their cattle out of the place. And you see, we have to be careful, because in most cases we have come to learn that these cattle do not even belong to the herdsmen.
They can't afford it.
They don't belong to them. But you brutally, you know, attack them, beat them, chase them out of the area, and you think that is a solution. That's not the way and the deputy defense minister says that, oh, my sister, you should play that video. That when you have the cattle put their horn in between, I mean, very, very unspeakable. That kind of attitude from a deputy defense minister is just terrible. Of course, I mean, listen to them, deputy minister of state. I think it is ridiculous. So, I mean, this Fulani issue has been with us for a very long time, and it is better for all of us to maybe possibly legislate, because I agree with the president then, you know, but I think it is dishonest to just say some of those things we all know can solve the problem and abandon same after winning elections and subject a group of people to all manner of inhumane treatment simply because they are Fulanis or because they are headsmen. I remember that even our second lady campaigned on these issues, met Fulani communities. How? Yes.
Okay, yeah,
she met Fulani communities and assured them that an NPP government was going to protect them and ensure that they did their traditional business of rearing cattle in peace and in harmony. She did, because she said she was one of them. She did.
That was in the campaign.
So today to have such people being subject, she did. Who? The second lady. She said she was one. She met Fulani.
Well, we reported it widely, so
it was widely reported. So I think that it is unacceptable to subject them to the kind of treatment that we are subjecting them to today, and think that is the solution. In fact, I have even heard reporters that I expect to know better say that they have gone to the community and the Agogo people, some of them are happy their wives can now go and fetch water. What about the human rights of the people they are brutally chasing out of the people? Doesn't that matter to a journalist, a reporter? What about the cohesion of this nation and the need for all of us to have equal stake? I mean, the Fulanis or the headsmen that I like to refer to them, we can't say, yes, some people have said they are stateless. But so far as they are in this country, and many of them are even citizens.
A prominent journalist.
I'm saying some of them, they say they are stateless, but I'm saying that some of them have acquired citizenship by either marriage, by you know, all kinds of, you know, ways through which one can become a citizen. And that has to be respected. And to also brand all of them as troublemakers, you know, or as being responsible for the atrocities that we have seen as a result of the rearing of cattle, I think is unfair to that generation. I don't think that our government is handling it well. Our deputy defense minister should be called to order. If he cannot be removed from post, at least he should be taught how to conduct himself, especially in the public, and the way he speaks better. I don't think that his mindset, as expressed in that interview, is safe.
Mr. Nate, how do we resolve? How do we holistically approach this?
I'm really surprised with my brother and friend now assessing the comments from the deputy minister. But that's just by the way.
You've watched the video apparently.
Yes, I've watched. And I also watched a video of my brother.
On what?
Which one?
On what?
Let's leave that.
Okay. On what? If that is on what?
To me, I perfectly and totally agree with Dr. Kwesi Edi.
Honestly,
yes, I perfectly agree with him, because
we shouldn't go to any West African country.
I'm telling you,
you should find a local solution.
I agree that it's a total waste of taxpayers' money, and my reason is this Fulani Esme issue started not today. For so many years, there have been series of committees being put in place. Reports has been given out day in fact, just about I think on Wednesday or Thursday, one of our colleagues, members of parliament, also have presented a statement
and cited some of those.
And the speaker then, who was in the chair, Joe Sewusu, said, but it has been an issue where a committee has been formed, where a committee has brought its report. What was the finding? What was at the end of what happens? We just go and put it under the carpet, and that is the end. And then the issue comes back again, and then we'll go back and then talk about the same issue. Spend the taxpayers' money. What happened previously? Why can't you get to the solution of the matter than always thinking of going back and forth day in and day out about some of these things? I keep on saying that, look, there are certain things that is going on in this country, like the Galamsey issue, like the Fulani issue. You cannot stop these if we, the politicians, if we don't stop it ourselves. Go to Agogo. In fact, last 2 years, when the issue was seriously going on, they cited some chiefs, they cited some politicians, they cited policemen. None of them came out to deny they don't
own cattle.
They don't own cattle. None of them.
Okay. So
in fact, I remember Ahwiaa Owusu Bempa mentioning names. Dare those people to come and say that yes, we don't own cattle. But none of these people came out to say that yes, we don't own it. In fact, the only person I even heard him saying that he owned cattle is Alhaji Gumsa.
As for him, it's public knowledge.
So the Fulani herdsmen, when they are coming from Niger or wherever they are coming from, hardly do they bring cattle. It is we. It's the politicians. It's the chiefs. It's the opinion leaders. It's the ministers and deputy ministers and what have you. They own it. In fact, on Wednesday, the chief whip, minority chief whip, saying that my he owns cattle. Is he a Fulani Butaka? Say, I also have cattle. Does it mean I'm also a Fulani man? My colleague and friend Agboja said he has son in the Volta region. Does it make him a Fulani? The point is that we need to find a lasting solution to the problem than always looking at the problem, spend money. I can tell you, if the select committee is going to Agogo today, they are not going to spend 1 day, they are going to spend 2 days. They are going to spend up to a week. And they will be accompanied by the police and the military. And you spend money on them. You spend money on the members of parliament, the accommodation and everything. And they will come back, will come and present the report, and nothing will happen. So you ask ourselves, are we doing good to this country?
So who should do something?
I strongly believe that the interior minister, the regional minister should come together and take a strong decision as to how. I remember during, is it President Mills or President Mahama time, we're told that they have been given a particular place for them to go and then feed their, because honestly, it is also not good that I have gone to the bank, taking some loan, have some, how do you call it? Crops, and then you come and feed. And now, honestly, we are in the dry season. So from next 3-4 months, they will start be taking them to their farms and be how do you call it? Destroying people's farm.
Because they need the green.
That's the point.
They need the green.
My other problem with them also is the allegation that they have an affair with people's wife and in some instance even kill their husband. Those are the things that I think that we need to look at it and dealt with it properly, because it is unfair that you bring your cattle to my farm, destroy my farms, and then at the end of the day sleep with my wife. And if I'm if I confront you, you killed me in addition. That is where the problem is. So how do we take care of their cattle? Where do we send them? And who is going to? In fact, the last time when they were, I think, far away from Agogo, and they were giving military protection, what happened to it? These are some of the things that we need to look at it.
Okay. But we should also agree that the Fulani herdsmen, they're scattered across the country because greenery is known to be everywhere where you have them. So
you know, Roland.
For
example, you go to the Somanya area, they are there, Volta region, the north, they're everywhere.
I think
is everywhere. Even in my constituency here, you have people rearing.
Yeah, I think this current approach and operation must be condemned.
So you think it's too inhumane?
It's just inhumane. I mean, how do we celebrate the killing of cattle as a solution
or even
to the problem?
As far as the
yes, in some cases we are told human beings have been killed. And then for me, what is alarming is the fact that you have people in authority say so far 800 or 80 cattle, we have killed them, we have chased them out.
Valuable cattle.
That is money. I mean, that's money. Elsewhere, I mean, people like the president, when he was a candidate, said they are able to cohabitate. I mean, they stay with these animals, and in some cases, even the GDP, the contribution to the GDP of a nation, is determined by the number of cattle in that economy. And then we are just killing them and chasing them out and celebrating it as a solution.
Wrong approach.
I think we are in 2018, for God's sake. There should be better.
It's an S-hole situation. Now let's go to Ghanaian Times. It says majority minority in dogfight over cash for seat. So you tell me, what's the problem? Cash for seat. I'm starting with Mr. Suheni.
I don't know what the problem is.
The two of you are MP, so I think you are in good stead to tell us. So you.
I don't know what the problem is. What I know is that we all watch the proceedings.
Yes, we did.
Thanks to some of you in the media, and I know there were portions of it that had to be done in camera, but a large part of it was telecast live, and people saw what happened. And this was a fact-finding committee. I am surprised that, based on what I am hearing, that a fact-finding committee will conclude in some cases that the people who made the allegations were not able to support them with facts, even though the facts may have come from other, if you like,
sources other than them.
Sources that appeared before the committee. But in the thinking of some of the members of the committee, it should have come
from
the people who made the allegation. Then there wouldn't have been the need to set up a fact-finding committee. Because when you are an investigative body to find facts, like the committee that was put together, what you are supposed to do is to take the allegations and match the allegations against whatever you will uncover in the process of your sitting or investigation, and then conclude if the allegations were with merit or without merit. But to just ignore whatever comes from any other source and say because the people who made the allegations, even in their own submission, suggested they didn't have A, B, C, so those allegations were frivolous, I think was unacceptable. But for someone like me, I didn't have so much hope that the committee was going to come out with the truth about what happened, especially because of the directive that the committee was given by His Excellency the President during his Meet the Press, when he indicated that this was frivolous and that the allegations were, if you like, bogus.
Did you say the president gave the committee a directive?
He did.
In what way?
By publicly saying what was happening.
But the president has already made that statement before the press. Before the press be the press, the president has already made that statement.
No.
After, when the issue came, the president invited the Minister for Trade and Industry.
That's true.
He reported to the president. The president directed him, go back to the public, tell them what you have told me.
Right.
It's a different thing altogether.
Right, I agree.
And when you had to meet the press,
as a lawyer of his standing, who knows about prejudice, you don't comment on a matter that is investigated by no less an arm of government than the legislator.
And the conclusion
is a lawyer.
Not been drawn.
And you see, the ministers who appeared, the members of parliament who represented the majority side, work at the pleasure of the president. We all know that. They work at the pleasure of the president because he appoints them and he disappoints them. So if you have the commander-in-chief thinking in this way, how dare you, his subordinate, come out with a report that goes against the thinking of your commander-in-chief, which he has publicly told the people of Ghana. Are you seeking to embarrass the president?
None of them is a minister.
But every member of parliament is a potential appointee of the president. You should know that. And that's why I'm saying that he appoints them and he disappoints them. And every member of parliament, at least most of them are hoping to be appointed as ministers if they are not ministers yet.
Including you.
I cannot be appointed by His Excellency the President.
But there's a board.
I don't share his policies.
There's a voter board. That
I don't share, but you see, so the point I'm making is that, Roland, the President already gave the indication how he wants his men and women on the committee to approach this matter. But clearly, I have seen some leaked report that is said to have come from the minority side. And I think there are reasonable grounds. There are reasonable grounds to convince anybody who is open-minded that and actually followed the committee sitting that indeed something untoward happened, for which we must all guard against and correct, so that our presidency is not abused in that manner. I mean, Roland, anybody who watched the proceedings, how on earth could one be left in doubt about the so-called precedent that people were supposed to pay and meet and sit close to, and then later have private dinner with? How on earth could anybody be in doubt that that reference was to His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana? How? But you have some members of the committee, and I have heard captured in the report of the majority.
You invited a key witness who is the lead organizer of the event, or one of the lead organizers of the event. He says that the president that was referred to in the letter that was signed and sent out was referring to me.
But isn't that ridiculous?
Why would you want the members of the committee to misinterpret?
Randy, why will you write? Randy, I say, Roland, why will you? Sorry, Roland,
no, Randy,
why will you write? Sorry, why will you write a letter to Japan Motors to come to pay $100,000 to come and sit close to Ashin Morton, the president?
This is the president.
Wait a minute. Maybe yes, the Excellence Foundation, to come and sit close to him, and then later have a private dinner with Ashin Morton. For what? Because those were the.
You mean Ashin Morton is not that important
to Japan Motors?
Well, that's okay.
I mean, for what?
Mr. Nate, just have your bite, and then we'll play Dominic Ayini before we'll end the conversation this morning.
Honestly,
you are surprised at his position.
Alasa. Oh yes, but it's obvious.
Why is it obvious?
Oh, I don't.
Who do you think that was being referred to as President? Ashin Morton.
The organizers of the program.
Said
you let me go straight to the point.
Ridiculous.
Roland. In fact, for me, I believe that if there are some issues like this, the most important thing that we need to do is to get an independent people to investigate some of these matters. Because one, definitely my brother Al-Hassan will speak for the minority. I will speak for the majority.
Definitely.
We are politicians. And at the end of the day, we will not get to the solution of the problem. The minority.
But let me ask you,
we have a committee.
If you are going to speak, if he is going to speak for NDC,
yeah,
and you are going to speak for MPP,
I will speak the truth.
So essentially, what was the purpose of the committee then?
That is why.
Because then you would have just told us that the position. The position of the NDC would have been this.
That is why I said there's a need for us to get an independent people, neither NDC or NPP. Let me tell
with him.
No.
Appointment committee, we have consensus all the time.
The reason
the problem was with the president interfering and giving a subtle direction.
I'm saying this because
to his
on
members.
Friday, I was sitting close to the chairman of the committee.
You have been sitting on people. Wednesday you were quoting, Friday to your.
Oh yes, I was sitting with Friday. I was sitting close to the chief whip chairman. When the member of the minority, Dominic, approached him and told him that he have heard that he's coming to lay the report, and that he has the minority version of the report. So he wants to be attached to it.
Right.
That's what he said.
Yes.
That's what he said.
But that's some procedure.
Exactly.
Procedure.
No. We have a committee.
Yeah.
A five-member. Exactly. You come up a report.
No.
It's true.
Why?
No.
Why?
No, Roland.
reported
No,
on
Roland.
Parliament.
No, yes, but it doesn't
That's
make
the
it.
committee's
That is
report.
one of the procedures. That is one of the procedures. When you
Is
have
there a procedure
consensus,
in your
when you
standing
have,
orders?
listen, when you have a
minority-
consensus,
So even
when you have a
chairman- It's a
consensus,
committee
when you have a
report. It's a
dissenting
committee
view,
report.
when you have
It
a
always has
dissenting
to be
view,
in the
you
hand.
can. Yes, when you have a dissenting view, you can write your dissent. It's just like we have in
But
the
it has to
Supreme
be
Court.
captured in the report.
Exactly. That's why he said they should attach it. If they're capturing, listen, if they are capturing what
That's why
you
you had
don't
it,
find
sir. You had it,
essential, you can insist that they should. That is why if you have a ruling at the Supreme Court, I mean, the general verdict captures essence.
But they say,
But
you
in
were
the
saying
end,
that he wanted
your position, especially if you are
Okay.
dissenting, is
Okay, Alassane,
explicitly
it's okay.
captured.
Now let's just hear from Dr. Dominic Hayene, who
It's
is a
one of
member
the procedures. You can have a minority
of the committee.
report.
And
You
then-
can have a joint
and then,
report.
And then Mr. Nate will come out with his conclusive remarks.
Until Wednesday in the afternoon, when I was surprised with a document, a draft report that had been authored by the chairman of the committee. And, you know, we had done lunch, and we're going to go back to the summary of the evidence and to complete that before we start the writing of the report. When he gave me this document, my initial reading of the document showed that they were basically walking down the road of, you know, total exoneration of the ministry, of the Millennium Excellence Foundation, and so on. So I was surprised because that was against the grain of the evidence that, you know, we had heard, and there was live coverage. So Ghanaians saw some of the things that were said, and some of the documents that were tendered. So I took my time and then went to my private office, sat down, and then read everything and decided that I will respond to it. So I spent that evening trying to respond to it. Well, he was seeking to lay a report for the committee. But that report was a report that I had not made an input. Honorable James Kluchi Abeje had not made an input because he is even out of the country. So I was here working and communicating with him regarding our side of, the story. So I was simply trying to table a written, report for the consideration of the other members of the committee.
Relax.
Okay, so our time is up. We have to wrap
Yes.
up. I'll give you 2 minutes. So
Yes. Relax.
you're saying that what he
There's-
said, I think it makes sense in a way, but even though
No,
listen.
The fact of the matter
The
is
fact of the matter
there are
too is
5
that the
men-
committee should have come out with one report, and that was a report.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Not
we present,
attaching.
because we present a report. This is the committee's report. That's the speaker's report.
Yes.
Here's the case. You are saying that you have your version, the minority. But that's what he even said on that day, on Friday, that we have the minority version of the report, and that he wants to be attached to it. And Chairman said, go and read the standing orders and see whether it is in the standing orders that if a committee has been formed, we have a minority version and a majority version. Because when we are presenting the report, we are presenting the report as a committee and not as minority and a majority report, which is wrong. I confronted Chairman and asked him, but why is it that he is coming out with a report? And he said, ask the number of times we called him for a meeting. After they have finished with everything, they decided to meet and write the report as a committee. He refused to attend the meeting. Then why do you blame the person that he has presented the report without your knowledge? Yes, indeed. There are 2 members from the minority, Abeji and then Dominic. Abeji is out of the country. In fact, that even delays the laying of the paper. That delays it till Friday. Tomorrow, we are all going to debate about the report. We all look at what. So the minority, I've heard him saying somewhere that they might boycott the debate.
No, we don't want to boycott it.
Yeah, so you sit in it. So whatever you have, you can raise it.
They will
And
be
I don't-
captured
but-
by
but-
But if it is not laid properly, like we are saying, you see, just from his own narration, it will tell you that that report was prepared by the majority.
All right.
And so all
Mr.
Dominic
Al-Hassan,
Ayini was seeking to
Mr.
do
Al-Hassan
was to
Sudan is a
have the
member of
minority
Parliament
view
for Tamale North.
incorporated.
But you can have
Honorable.
2 reports.
Thank you.
Honorable, good morning. Thanks for joining me. And then Mr. Ebenezer Ni Na Napi. That's a name, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He's a member of Parliament for Ablekuma Central.
Can I wish can I wish one of my youth organizers a very blissful marriage?
Okay.
Al Hassan, he's a branch chairman in the Novisco
just had his
area.
marriage?
Had a wedding yesterday. A very beautiful. Yes.
What, and again, the name is Al Hassan.
Al Hassan, he's the branch youth organizer in the Novisco area. Yes, and he got married to a very lovely lady. I wish them a very, very successful marriage. Ras Mubarak, our colleague, also got a wife.
Congratulations to all of them. Ras,
in Kumasi.
So we are waiting for you.
And then also Al Hassan.
Don't you envy us?
All right. So that'll be it for the morning. But we have a great conversation on childhood cancers, and we know that you stick and stay. And please let us impact a lot more knowledge on all that's happening in children, on children's health and childhood cancers.